Hi, I'm Bill Corcoran Jr., and I'm your host for the On the Stacks podcast. Today, I'm chatting with Sarah Gittleman, founder, writer, and creative director at NEPaUdio. What's up, podcast episode 74 of the On the Stacks podcast in the Blue Door studio. Welcome to the podcast, Sarah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I am now a semi-pro hula hooper.
Yeah, you did pretty well.
What do you think?
You did pretty well. You got the isolation down very quickly.
Did I?
Yeah, a lot of people can't really wrap their minds around those hand tricks. So I was impressed. You could work on the hip movements a little more.
Yeah, at first I kind of felt like a fish out of water. But yeah, so you brought some hula hoops, and we'll talk a little bit about that and some of the other things that you do. But jam journalism, I see, is like, it's in your logo. What is jam journalism?
Sure. Jam journalism is, I guess, I just coined that phrase this year for NEPaUdio. NEPaUdio is my online blog and magazine that I run every year for the music festival scene in Pennsylvania. And basically, my other catchphrase is covering the music and the magic. And that more encompasses, well, I guess they both do in part. But so I cover the music for our local music scene, and I go out towards Harrisburg, Philadelphia, Northeast PA, dip a little bit into New York, dip a little bit into New Jersey. My editor actually made a really good metaphor that, you know, the New York Times doesn't just cover news in New York City, and NEPaUdio isn't just NEPA, but we cover anything that's moving in and out of our local music festival, music scene circuit. So bands from Connecticut, New Hampshire, bands from Colorado, if they come in, like, I will cover their shows. So yeah, that's what NEPaUdio is.
How did you get started?
I got started, NEPaUdio is about 5 years old now, which is crazy to think about. I got started in 2016. I was dating a boy in a band, and he just told me I should start a music blog, and I never really considered it. I graduated from Kutztown University with a writing degree, and I have a career that doesn't really use it that much right now. I'm the third generation at an environmental lab that my dad owns, my grandfather started, and I work a lot with data and just like reporting and data and office management duties. So my extent of writing is kind of emails. And this was a really good way for me to marry my two passions of writing and music, because I've been a writer my whole life. I've literally kept a journal on me I literally have journals from like sophomore year of high school, like still in my possession.
Wow.
Yeah, they're bad. It's really embarrassing.
Probably don't want to read those now, huh?
Yeah, when I moved out of my parents' house, I found one, and I found a page, and I just went downstairs and read it to my stepmom. And she cracked up. It was so it's really, and I still have it. I just can't I can't let it go. But yeah, I still keep a journal now. I'm always writing. I write a lot of poetry, obviously. Now I am a journalist, self-declared journalist. I mean, I took a lot of journalism classes. I took a broad range of writing classes at Kutztown, took a very good portion of journalism classes. So yeah, I'm an all hands on deck, all different kinds of writer.
So what is it about writing that you like so much?
Oh man, expression, I guess. I mean,
because you've been doing it for so long. It's like since you were a kid.
Yeah, I definitely expression would be my number one, because that was, oh my God, I have so many emo poems from when I was like 12 to today. And yeah, so expression, I love communication. I love just being able to relay an image or a feeling through words that other people appreciate and reciprocate well. And I definitely do that a lot with jam journalism. It's really cool to hear from other fans, because I'm a fan, other fans that they love something specific I wrote about, but it's extra cool to hear from musicians that they appreciated a piece of work that I put out for them.
So you interview musicians for like upcoming shows and festivals. Is that right?
Yeah. I'll interview musicians. I get a lot of requests for album reviews, and I actually one of my writers, I have a small army for NEPA Audio. I do most of the content, like all the social media I do. But I have a featured writer. His name's Jeffrey Glenn, and he's awesome. He's an NYU grad with music theory. He studied music at NYU, and he does my album reviews for me. He did the ones in the magazine, and whenever I hit him up that somebody requested an album review, he's always down to do it. He loves writing about music, and he has this technical side and knowledge that like I could never, and he puts it in such an entertaining way that's fun to read. So I definitely appreciate him. So we get a lot of album reviews. I get a lot of requests for event coverage. So we just did a piece on Briggs Blues Farm, which will be happening July 9th through the 10th. And that's, do you know Briggs at all?
I don't know.
Really?
No.
Okay. Briggs is...
All right, tell me about it.
Yeah. I mean, aside from the Live Nation corporate festivals of Peach Fest and Camp Bisco that happen on the mountains, Briggs Blues Farm is the festival of the area. And other than Music Fest, but that's also corporate. This is the music. It's in Nescopec, PA. There's about 8,000 people that go every year.
Oh wow!
And they're just a homegrown family business too. It's on the family's farm, and they have Shamika Copeland coming this year, who's just a renowned blues artist. They have Scott Pemberton coming in from the West Coast. They have Mike Miz coming in, who's a big name. Dustin Douglas, I believe, is on the lineup as well. And they've grown exponentially. And anybody, I've known about Briggs for a long time, and anybody who's gone there, they are just so committed to that weekend every year. It is like do not miss event at all for that weekend. So that one, I just did some digital coverage on.
So NEPA Audio, how did it all get started though? Did it start as a digital and then print publication?
Yeah, that's absolutely how it got started. I started the blog itself in 2016, and I never really I didn't have any intention at all when I started the blog. I was just like, all right, like my boyfriend at the time hooked me up with some interviews because he was in the festival scene too. He was a musician. And I just started doing some articles and posting them online.
And that just kind of grew organically?
Yeah, exactly. 2018, I finally decided that I just got the idea in my head that I wanted to make a magazine out of it. And 2018 was our first year. I took just articles that were already published on the website and just turned them into a book form, which is not at all what we do now. We write articles specifically for the magazine. You can view them online because I have virtual booklets on NEPAudio.blog.
Nice.
I have virtual booklets, so you can read them on there, but they're not previously publicized posts.
Okay, so this is like the first time you would be reading it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It takes a lot of, I think we do about 3 or 4 months of preparation to make the booklets. I do most of it.
I was going to say, like, what kind of work is involved with this? This thing is like 56 pages long.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a micromanager, but I mean, it's my baby. Like I said, I do have a team of writers with me. Jeffrey Glenn writes reviews for me now. I think I had 3 other writers besides me and him on the magazine this year. My best friend / old classmate, Veronica, she does all of my editing because she's the managing editor at a newspaper up in Honesdale. So she does a final read through of everything to make sure that everything's spick and span before we print it.
No typos.
And yeah, but me-wise, I do all the social media. I run the entire advertising campaign, make sure that all the money's collected, that everyone paid the right price, that everyone's ad is the right size. I wrote 3 cover stories this year, and I wrote the featured bands. I sign the writers their stories or ask writers what they want to write. Sometimes I'll tell them what to write, but other times I'll be like, all right, these are my topics. I have like a private Facebook group of my staff. And I'll be like, these are some topics that I have. Who wants to do what? And they could kind of choose. And then I design the whole thing.
That's really cool. Yeah. So use the word festival. Like for those listening that may not know, what goes on at a festival? It's a loaded question, right?
It is a loaded question. The music festivals that I go to are the quintessential hippy dippy jam band music festivals. I started attending them in about 2012. I was a sophomore at Kutztown University, and it changed my life into the person I am today, which is a compliment because I'm a very accomplished person. But music festivals are these weekend-long events that include camping. So you camp overnight. Usually you could bring your own coolers with your own drinks and food and like have a fire pit. All your friends come together and you have a campsite together, and there's just a schedule of music of acts that you can see with your ticket price. So like literally from usually noon until 3:00 in the morning, you can see a different band. Usually there's multiple stages. You could go check out different bands, a lot of craft and art vendors, and a lot of workshops was what I was going to say.
So there's a lot to do.
Yeah, there's
it's
a lot
not just
to do.
music.
No. And the music festival that I'll be going to shortly is Beard Fest, which is an extremely workshop-driven festival. And it's out in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. So they have everything from like, yoga, acro yoga, primitive basket weaving, exploring the ecology around the lake. And magic, like open mics, like there's so much that they have to offer. That's festival specifically, workshop wise, which is really neat because you could listen to music, and you could actually like learn some new skills.
And maybe some hula hooping.
Maybe some hula hooping.
What's that all about?
Hula hooping.
We did a little on the stacks.
Yeah.
So tell me more about it.
Hula hooping and music festivals go kind of hand in hand. I started hula hooping about the same time that I started getting into the music scene. It all goes back to Kutztown. I can't even describe the pocket of time that I lived in as an undergrad at Kutztown. We lived in these places called the Briar Cliffs. Okay.
We need to talk more about Kutztown. What went on? All right, let's go. We're going down the rabbit hole of Kutztown. Let's go.
We lived in this place called the Briar Cliffs, which is off-campus housing. The Briar Cliffs were these row home 2-floor apartments. You had a front and backyard. They were all connected. So all the yards were connected. They were originally built as flood relief homes in like the 1970s, and it showed. They didn't do much updates between then and when I was there in 2012 to 2015.
So it still looked like 1970.
Yeah, like Viking furniture, like thick wooden, solid Viking furniture in the living rooms. Like we're like, this is what...
Very, very comfortable stuff.
Yeah, no, but me and all of the friends that I was still friends with today, I was just telling you that I went to skate away on Saturday.
Yeah.
All these same girls.
Okay.
We're called the Salmons.
The Salmons?
There's going to be so many layers here. But we all went to Kutztown together. We all had yards that bordered each other, or we were just like houses away from each other. We all like learned how to hula hoop together. So, like one girl knew how to do it, and it just like took off. And everyone was hula hooping there. Have you ever heard of slackline?
No.
Okay, slackline is like this tightrope that you'll put between two trees, and like you could walk and balance on it.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
there'd be like slackliners in yards and stuff. We had like almost our own commune. Like I hate to, it was pretty. I mean, we're all going to school and studying, and then like coming home and like
you had your own little mini festival.
We did, yeah. So like when I finally got to one, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is where I belong. I don't even remember what the start of this question was.
it was the hula hooping. We were talking about how did the hula hooping get started. Then we went down the rabbit hole of Kutztown, which is I guess where it all started.
It all started at Kutztown.
And by the way, like the hula hooping you do isn't like your average, like, it's like a little bit more in depth.
I've been hula hooping since 2012. So how many years is that?
I'm really bad at math, but I'd say
6 or 7 years that I've been hula hooping, and I still hula hoop. I brought 3. I just had 3 to spare today to bring. I have a hula hoop that lights on fire.
Dangerous.
Yes, dangerous. And then I have a hula hoop that lights up. That's fun. It has all these crazy different patterns that flash between. So there's a whole other sport involved to hula hooping.
Sounds it. I mean, I like I said at first when I said earlier, I felt like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got
I was flapping around, but then I got it.
You enjoyed yourself too.
I did.
Yeah,
I
it was
had
fun.
fun. I almost knocked over Darren's equipment. That would have been bad. But yeah, no, you taught me a couple. The what was it?
The isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hands on the wheel on the bus, and
yes, the wheel on the bus.
I spun it around a couple times.
You did well.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to pick up on. That took me months to pick up on.
Yeah. I only did it right like once though.
Yeah, like twice.
So what is it about, the festivals and music and everything? Like, why is it so important to you?
Oh man, it's definitely just part of my identity now. I've been going to them since 2012, so long time. There's one festival in particular, or I should say production company, that has a few festivals a year called Gibber Jazz. That is like that pocket of time that I was talking about with all of my college friends. That's like our family reunion now, because we all live, like I have some that live towards Philly area, some that live in Harrisburg, the one that lives up towards Honesdale. And that is the one weekend a year that like we know we're all going to meet up.
The Salmons.
Yes, the Salmons.
Getting the band back together.
Yeah. And we've just gone to countless of them together at this point. Are you a big concert goer? Do you like
I'm not a huge concert goer, to be honest.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm a loser.
You're not a loser, but you should go to some concerts.
I should. Yeah. Now that they're opening back up, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Can we
talk about it? Yeah.
I really think this is not even a bold statement to say that the music industry was one of the most affected industries of the pandemic. There are a lot of venues that close their doors and will never open them up again. I have friends that are contracted workers, like lights, photographers that were just
out of work,
furloughed for over a year. And just people, I mean, yeah, it was a big deal. It was really hard for a lot of people who didn't have, whose jobs depended on putting on shows and events. With that being said, it's awesome that it's coming back right now. I thought we were going to wait at least until September this year. I did not expect. So good job, everybody, with getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
I did not expect for us to a Peach Fest. I did not think that was going to happen at all this year. So it's really exciting to see it come back, obviously. And during that time, that pause, and that's actually one of my cover stories, Ardmore Music Hall, is a really good example of this. A lot of people got to take a breath back in a usually breathless industry. They're just in constant motion between selling tickets, booking bands, putting on the show, cleaning up after the show. All right, there's another one tomorrow. All right, we're booking this act. It's just constant. And it's the same way for really avid music goers. Like, a lot of people are nuts with some of the bands that they follow. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Fish Fans or anything like that, but they'll go to 300 shows, which is insane.
It's a lot of shows.
It's impressive.
Yeah. Dedication.
Yeah. And it's just a constant, you're just always chasing the next date, the next show. So to pedal back to Ardmore, and this is a cover story in the magazine, during that time, they actually used it as a time to totally renovate their venue. And Ardmore Music Hall has been in business for a very, very long time, whether it be a different name or change of hands. They've been, I forget the date. I know they've been Ardmore Music Hall for 15 years, and then they've had a few previous names before that. So they got the chance to step back, be like, all right, well, we've always wanted to do these renovations. Now's our opportunity to do that. They had a ghost taco kitchen that they were doing in the back. So they were making money off of tacos, and they just put in all new flooring. They raised their stage. They made it a little bit bigger. They made their dance floor bigger. They put in 2 new bars, which is nuts because it's I think they told me it's a 600 person capacity venue. So I was like, what? All these bars, which is awesome though. Cause when it's packed, but, so it was really neat to see people utilize the pause. And a lot of people in the music industry did. And they were blessed to like be able to, do that and not just go out of business. But Jazz Cafe's back, which is a wilkes-barre joint, which I'm very excited for. I've been going to the Jazz Cafe since they've been letting me through the door at the age of 21. So I'm very excited.
Nice disclosure there.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even try beforehand. I'm very excited that they are back. They just had their first slew of shows not too long ago. And I'm excited to see what they have announced. So yeah, it was very exciting to see that they did not, and they have the comfort of like being under the Friedman umbrella. So I wasn't too worried about them, but still they were just closed. You're like, oh my God, like, are they going?
Yeah, they're never going to open back up.
Am I going to see a show at the Jazz Cafe again? Which is definitely hands down, my favorite local place to go.
Yeah. So why is the local art scene so important?
Local arts is really important. Everyone loves radio and big. I don't want to even say top 40s because there's top tiers in the jam scene too. But local arts is really important because people are, they're putting their passion out there and they're doing good stuff, and it deserves to be recognized and listened to and celebrated just as much as any larger name that maybe you just know off the top of your hand does. These people are really putting their heart and souls into everything, and it's good. It's not just like, oh, you're doing it, here's a trophy. Like it's good music, and just because it's not like on the pedestal of Trey Anastasio doesn't mean it's not really good
music.
Yeah, it shouldn't be enjoyed.
You talked a little bit before we started, you mentioned about juggling a lot of different balls and having like 3 different balls in the air like all the time. Like you have your full-time, your day job, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have NEPaUdio, which is like your passion project. How do you manage to do all of it?
I have a planner. Literally, I have a planner. Do you use a planner?
I use my calendar, like Google Calendar.
I noticed because you sent me a calendar request.
Yeah.
So I know you're like...
Yeah, I'm like kind of organized.
Yeah, you're like a semi-half planner. I have a handwritten... It's a passion planner for anybody who's curious. It's my first year using a passion planner, and I really like it.
Where do you get one of those?
Online, passionplanner.com.
There you go, free commercial.
Yeah, passion planner. Go get one.
So you're big into planning.
I'm big into planning, big into planners. I've had a planner... through college, they'll give you ones for free.
I used to have one in college.
Yeah.
I did. I used to actually write it all down. I think, but that was also probably like, not that computers like existed. They obviously existed, but I think like the technology then and Google Calendar and stuff like that was.
But you don't get like the gratification of like checking.
Crossing things off.
The check mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But my planner runs, it's like long columns for each day, and it actually breaks each day into hours. So I could literally, for my 8-hour workday, it'll just be kind of like a running to-do list of stuff that I want to get done during the day. I don't really hold myself to what hour I'm going to do something. But then beyond that, I could plan, okay, I have hot yoga this day until 6:30. I'm going to do this and this afterwards. Like, okay, on my lunch break, I'm going to make this NEPaUdio social post. Okay, on this lunch break, like I'll mail out my newsletter because I do a bi-weekly newsletter. And every Friday I do a Facebook post of all of the events and now live streams, because live streams became a big thing during the pandemic. When people couldn't go to see shows, they would just be playing shows and broadcasting them. So every Friday, I do a schedule, literally broken down Friday, Saturday by the hour of local events, local festivals, and streams that you can catch online on the NEPaUdio Facebook page.
Nice.
And NEPaUdio has one A, so it's NEPaUdio.
There you go. Yeah, for those searching right now that maybe weren't able to find it. So, what else? So you put out what now? 3 publications?
3. Yeah, it would have been 4 if last year didn't happen.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. You didn't do one last year.
Yeah, I was lucky enough that I got to recycle our 2 cover stories into this year. So that cut out some of the work for me. And then, but at the same time, like I pushed, usually our magazine comes out in April. My first pass out will be some kind of jam, which is the last weekend of April. This year I pushed it back until June because it just felt like stuff wasn't total, all steams ahead yet. So I pushed it back a month, hoping that stuff would be getting going, and it is. So props to me.
Yeah. So this is free, right?
Yes, it's free. So you can find them locally for free at Wyoming Valley Beverage. I have a few at Primal Glass and Utopia Glass. There's some at Backyard Ale House in Scranton. And if you're a business that's local and wants some, let me know and I will come drop some off. But yes, they are free. I raise all of my money through the ads that we put in the magazine. So it's a little stressful because there's a lot of pressure there to make my goal, which I did this year.
And do you do that? Do you do all that part by yourself too?
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I do.
So you sell all the ads, you write a lot of the content, you have some other writers, you have the editor, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's insane. The last week before I sent to print at Corcoran Printing.
Shout out.
I was getting home from work. I work like a half an hour away, so I was getting home from work around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and just opening up my laptop, and I was on there from 11 p.m. till midnight every night, and I was literally a zombie. Luckily, I have very understanding and patient coworkers that know of NEPA audio, obviously. They're like, all right, this is her last week. And I'm like, guys, this is my last week.
The home stretch.
I promise next week will be totally different. Just let me be a zombie for this week. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I have a lot of help, too, and I don't want to ever underplay that. The people that work with me are great. And, they're not... None of us are getting a paycheck for it. Actually, this year I was able to pay a few special people, which was awesome because I made enough money to do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, doing all this work, how do you avoid getting burned out? Do you ever feel like you're going to burn out from doing all of it?
Yes, I do. I won't lie. I think I also properly avoid getting burnout. There are some days that I just would not allow myself to go on my NEPA audio accounts or my laptop. I would just go to a yoga class and take a shower and go to bed.
So you kind of just tune out.
Yeah, you definitely have to put a stop sign in front of yourself sometimes. I definitely got a little burnout though, and that's still something I'm working out on my own because I am just a ultimate mover, a hyper goer. I'm always doing something. I am, and that's something I'm working on personally, and it's going better. But I
think it's just the creative mind.
Yeah, I agree. There's always just if I'm not doing that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't made a collage. I have a ghost. That's not really that ghost. It's in my personal Instagram account, but the collages that I make, I have a separate Instagram account just for the collages. And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't made a collage in so long. And
speaking of collages, you made me a collage.
I did.
Yeah. Tell everyone about it. It's going to be here in the studio, and you guys will see some pictures on social media, but it's going to be here now, hanging on the wall eventually. But we got Leanin right here. So what's up with the collage? Okay, so I made you a collage. Well, I made you a collage because I didn't have any larger props than an 8x5 magazine for the photo shoot. So I made you a larger collage. And it makes sense in regards to the magazine because during the pandemic, I picked up collaging. It was something that I never did before, but I always wanted to. I was hoarding these magazines for years. I'm like, I'm going to collage one day. And I just was keeping these magazines. So I finally did that. And I loved it. I made my own Instagram for it. And I took a little bit of that and put it into NEPA audio. So our cover this year and the index and the table of contents are all collage that I hand cut and then scanned in and arranged on Photoshop. So I made you a collage, and this is a fun fact that you probably don't know. All right. Or there's no way you knew this. The Miller Lite bottle. So Billy is sitting on top of this very wise old man head sculpture with smoke coming out. I don't know. I forget. I got that from a National Geographic. And he's on the stacks and his feet are hanging over. Yep. There's some mountains in the background. There's this Elvis guy like mirror
upside
image.
down. Yeah. And there's some woods ripped up. And then there's a big thing of a mug of beer with a Miller Lite bottle and a Sony. And the Miller Lite bottle and the Sony player are from a 1984 issue of Rolling Stone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
Like an actual like magazines that you've just collected?
I bought them off of Facebook Marketplace for $10 for 2 magazines. Which I'm sound with that investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's in my collage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got 2 pieces.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I love them. I love when people make me stuff. And I'm not saying this because I all the upcoming guests, like, I don't want you to think you have to, make me or gift me something. But I really appreciate things like that because you put some time and thought into it. So yeah. So thank you.
You're welcome.
What else? Can we go back to Kutztown? Like, what else? What else? what? I need to know what else happened at Kutztown.
Oh man. Sure. Kutztown, I graduated, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
I did graduate.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I graduated. I did do a semester victory lap. So I didn't do a full year though. I just did a semester.
You got that little extra.
Yeah, just that last
That's cool. I wish I did that.
Well, I wasn't allowed to live on camp, or by rule of my parents, I was not allowed to live at Kutztown anymore. They're like, you need to focus, which I did. So I was a really bad student, probably my sophomore year. I graduated from a prep school with 38 other kids. So when I went to like a state college, it was just like, it was just like the Garden of Eden. I didn't even know what was going on. So I indulged. But by, I would say, my junior, senior year, I was getting all A's and B's in all my classes except for German, because they shouldn't even required me to take 3 levels of a foreign language for my degree, but that's beyond the point. I was getting all A's and B's in my writing classes specifically because I cared about them. I loved being there. I loved going to the labs. Would have like 3-hour creative writing sessions and stuff like that. So yeah, I cleaned my act up in time for graduation. Still had to do a half victory lap. My parents would not allow me to live on campus, so I was commuting, which was an hour away. It wasn't too bad. I was working part-time at the lab, so I was already transitioning to there, which is funny because I always resented going into the family business. And maybe you could relate with this. I was resented. It wasn't that I resented it, but I was like, no, like I've always been an artsier person. I'm like, I can't work at the lab. That's not like I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. And at this point, what I do at Hawk Mountain is really, really neat. What we do at Hawk Mountain is really neat.
Talk about it.
We very much directly serve our community. So like any restaurants that are on a well, like they have to get their water tested at the DEP to make sure that their water is safe to serve to the public. Water treatment plants have to get their water tested to make sure that the treatments that they're doing are working. And we're an independent source to provide independent information for that. So I take a lot of pride into what I do work-wise, even though it's not exactly aligned with what people would expect me to be doing for a living right now. And I think that's totally okay. Like I don't subscribe to the idea that you need to monetize off of your passion. I think, like some things that we do that we love, like that just feeds a piece of our soul, and that could be enough. It doesn't have to be a paycheck for us. And a lot of times when you put pressure onto, like there's always, what's that phrase that's like, oh, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Like, I don't believe that, because people who do what they love are working really hard. They're probably working much harder because they really care about what they're putting out there. So, and it's just a silly thing to put pressure on something that you love so much to bring. It's awesome if you can achieve that. Don't get me wrong, but you don't have, you can have a balance of both things in your life.
Yeah. Like you don't have to, you don't have to make it, your full-time thing. If you're just okay with it just being like a little passion side project, then great.
Yeah, exactly. And like with social media these days, they always like, oh, be your own boss. Like, and that's awesome if you can do that. But like, I think it puts a lot of weird pressure on people that they should be doing something that they don't exactly want to or have to do. Like, you can just have your job that's just an office job and then have all these other amazing parts of you that make up you. And it's not like you're just defined by what you do 8 hours a day for a paycheck.
Yeah. And before you said something, I don't know the exact words, but you said something like what you do is not what people would expect you to do.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, because my 8 to 5 gig is I make all the reports for the lab. So I format all the reports, and I build databases that then other entities can use to upload into their databases. So it's very, I wouldn't say math driven, but it's number driven. There's a huge technical scientific side to it. I'm not very creative at all, except for like those few clients that love when I send them like a meme here and there,
Yeah.
or internally. But it's not like I get to like really have like creative freedom like I do with the magazine. So I don't think a lot of people expect like me to have this like, I'm like the little jam girl that hula hoops. But on the other end, I'm this girl who goes to work every day and crunches numbers for people that they could put it in their database and like, I don't know, talk to people from the DEP.
Yeah. So it's a family business. Who else from your family works there?
We all do.
Everyone.
All of us. My dad currently owns it. My grandfather started the business. My dad's the current owner. My stepmom works as marketing development. My brother works as a materials and coal technician. And then I am in the office. And that's all of us.
Nice.
Yeah.
How is it working with your family?
It's interesting. Sometimes I don't see them as much as you would think. My brother's on job sites a lot. So he's the one that bugs me the most. Not bugs. Love you, Ben.
Sorry, Ben.
But he'll come. There's like Sudoku under our tissue boxes. So he'll come into my office and just flip over the tissue box and like sit there and play Sudoku sometimes. I shouldn't have said that. My parents will be mad. Don't listen to this. They already know. But no, I like it. I like working with my family. It was funny. An ex-boyfriend of mine made a comment one time that was like, you and your dad talk about work like people would talk about the weather. And I'm like, that might be true. But like, at least like we're talking. And we talk about music a lot too, actually. My dad, this is a great plug into this. My dad
definitely
was the one who got me into music.
I was going to say, like what all started your love for this?
It was him. I am a mini him. Through and through. It probably scares him.
So he used to hula hoop too?
No, but he was a photographer, so he was an artist. He was a big hiker, loves music. I remember when we were kids, he used to have a Jeep Rubicon, and in the summer, like we'd have the top down and we'd be blasting like The Offspring and Beastie Boys. And he's a big Ryan Adams guy. I don't know if you know Ryan Adams. No, he's like this country folky type of guy. He's really good. He's a very good songwriter. He got Me Too not too long ago, but so yeah, definitely through my dad the music side came out, and he's still a big, me and him, like if you ever saw our text message thread like between each other, it's us sending each other songs all the time. It's a really cool relationship to have with a parent.
Yeah.
And it's like no context. It's just like a song randomly at like 2 p.m. or 12 at night. Like,
yeah. So what else? I mean, you have a lot of tattoos, if you don't mind me asking. Do these have like any meaning?
I do. I've almost a full arm of tattoos. Yeah. Okay. That they do. They did. Now I'm kind of at the point where I'm getting tattooed because I'm like, oh, I really like this flash design and like I have space to kill on my arm, so let's get it. But when I started getting tattooed on my arm, I was really into dream journaling. So like I would have dreams and I would look up the symbols from the dreams that I had and I would journal it all down, the handwritten, because that's how I do. And I started to build a sleeve off of that. So my first one that I got on my arm was a moon with amethyst crystals for moon in the nighttime. And then amethyst is a crystal that's supposed to promote dream clarity. So that's why I got that one. And then my cat piece, which you can't see, but it's there, was the first dream that I had that was really, really vibrant that I woke up and I was like, whoa, like that just meant something. So I was in a semi-abusive relationship. It wasn't physically abusive, but very mentally abusive. I was finishing up my degree at Kutztown, and we were probably both not young and not good to each other. I'm sure I wasn't the best version of myself either, but he was not good. And, just like if I left, he was going to kill himself, like just kind of manipulative tactics that gaslighting, all that classic stuff that people tell you to watch out for. But when you're young in love, you don't. And I had this dream that we were driving through a rainforest, and it was like an island or something, and it was pouring down rain in the car, and the rain was getting so high that it started coming up through the floorboards. And the first thing that we passed, we stopped at this one stop, and there was a snake with a child coiled up in it, and it snapped at the window. We ran, like drove away quick. And then the second thing that came up was an alligator, and it started heading towards us, snapping at the window, and we got away again. And that's when I woke up and I was like, holy crap, like that, like what was that? Like I was driving, he was in the passenger seat. So I started looking it up because I knew that it meant something. So me driving meant that I was in control of the situation. The boa that we passed the first time is like, it goes back to biblical times, the Garden of Eden. It's temptation and seduction. And then the crocodile is undiscovered strength and courage. So I got a crocodile wading in the water with a lotus flower because I love lotus flowers. And those two pieces started a whole dream sleeve for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Good question.
Yeah. Wasn't sure if I was supposed to ask that or not, but I did anyway. So also I got to give my cousin Teddy a little shout out here. Because he's the one, he sent me a message and said like, hey, like, what's up? So a little shout out to Teddy for getting you on here.
Good work, Ted. I was threatened. I was threatened. He said, "You fill out the form, or I do."
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm glad he reached out because I think there's a lot of people that, and I've said this before on the show, that there's a lot of people that like probably want to come on the show, but like just either don't know how to ask and like, or just like are afraid to ask, and like I just want people to know like you could just ask me.
Yeah, I was definitely afraid. Well, I wanted to be on the stacks. But I didn't realize the stacks meant tied to a podcast.
Oh, okay.
So I was talking to Ted. I'm like, I want to be on the stacks, like, because I wanted to.
But you didn't know that there was a show involved too.
I wanted a picture on the stacks. So I was like, what am I supposed to talk about for an hour? Like my jam bands and my hula hoops. But I guess here we are, and yeah. Yeah,
we're already 3 hours in. My God. So you didn't know like that. You can't sign up for just the photos.
No, I didn't.
Well, but the thing is, it used to just be photos.
Yeah.
Like up until, a little over a year ago, because we're like 70 some weeks into this now.
Yeah, congratulations.
Like, thanks. It's like it's gone like a lot of different directions, and it's cool. But,
you got a lot of gifts.
Yeah, a lot of cool gifts in here. But like I said, I think a lot of people just don't like know how to ask or like anything. And you know what? Just, I don't know, send me a message. That's what Ted did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was threatened. He said either you fill out the form or I do.
Or I'm going on.
I'm like, well, I'll answer the questions better. So I guess I'll have to fill out the form. Like, geez. But I don't know. I didn't think like, because like I said, I know this, recently you've had more business owners on. I'm like, well, I don't make money from NEPA.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I was like, I didn't feel worthy.
Yeah.
And then I had a stern talk with myself that what I'm doing is really cool.
It is really cool, and if I didn't think it was cool, you wouldn't be here.
That's true. Yeah.
Just because I have like some business owners, I have a lot of business owners on, but again, I want people to know that like you don't have to be like a business owner, and even if you're just doing something like you're doing, like that's totally cool. Like
it is totally cool.
Yeah, and it's worthy. Yeah. Well, plus I also got the cool collage. That's really the only reason I had you on.
You didn't even know about the collage.
I know.
That was a surprise.
It was a bonus.
Yeah.
It was a bonus.
Yeah, it's definitely a bonus.
Yeah. So what else? So what else is coming up the rest of the summer? Show wise, festivals. You wanna give a shout out to like any of them coming up like late summer, fall?
Late summer, fall. I'm not sure yet about late summer, fall. I can tell you that right now Montage Mountain is doing a beer garden, and they're having bands play. It's a daytime thing. It's like, I think it's from 2 p.m. to 8. We went to the first one not too long ago, and it was a lot of fun. They like have really good cocktails and food, pitcher drinks, and it looks like the parking lot. We were like not sure where we were going at first. But it's really nice once you get inside. It's what they would use when they were skiing, as like there's like fire pits all over the place, and like these little like it looks like the top of a wagon from Oregon Trail, but they're like these shelters, which are great because it was so hot out that day. So they've been doing music there, and they're free events. I forget what they're called, like Summer Wonderland or something like that. If you follow NEPA Audio on Facebook, I'll have them every weekend, or every weekend that I do them. I think they're going to do them once a month or every other weekend. Beyond that, I'm hoop performing.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Yeah.
Carnival of the Arts, which is a festival held in Lehighton, which is a town right outside of Jim Thorpe. This is their second year, because it would be their third, again, if 2020 didn't happen. And I'm pretty close with all of the organizers there. It's an arts first festival, meaning that the visual artists, like if you've ever gone to a concert festival experience, you know that they have live painters that will literally paint a painting before you right next to the stage. So live painters are all over the place. They make these big art installations collaboratively together, and they have a lot of really good music. My boyfriend Teddy is DJing, and I will be hoop performing, and there's some other really good bands that are coming through. Ghost Note is one of them. That features members of Snarky Puppy, which is a Grammy Award-winning band. Lay Special, which has been hitting tour very hard, like for a month now. So they'll be back. Very cool primacy type of vibes. Let's see, Yam Yam is there, and I don't think I've even talked about Yam Yam yet. They're one of our cover stories, actually, and they're a 4-piece soul funk group from Harrisburg, and they are just so much fun. They're really high energy. They're coming out with an album midsummer. I think towards the end of July they'll be coming out with an album. Definitely go check them out. It's Yam Yam, YAM YAM. Who else is at Carnival? Paris Monsters, a 3-piece. Oh, and Muscle Tough, who's also one of my favorite bands. They're out of Philly, a 3-piece, and they're really known for their warp pedals and their covers, because they cover, my favorite cover of them is Toxic by Britney Spears. Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. They get creative. They're fun.
Yeah,
they're fun.
That's creative.
And they're all individually, the 3 of them are insanely talented, and they're so nice. They're such, me and John are like really good friends. I think.
You know these people?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, especially because it's the local music festival scene. A lot of them are really close with their fans. And now I'm like, I don't know, super fan, journalist, something in
between. Yeah, but it's cool because you built relationships with these people.
Yeah, I just saw John a few weeks ago in Philly, and I gave him a magazine. They're Muscle Tough. They were my cover story in 2019.
I think it was a picture of you and him holding one of these up.
Yeah,
I saw
that. Yeah, and he was like super stoked, even though they're not in the magazine this year. He was still like, "Thanks for all you do. You're great."
Yeah, that's cool. It seems like in the music community and the festival community, it seems like it's like a family thing. It seems like you guys are like so connected.
Yeah, festival family is actually a term.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah,
I don't think I knew that.
I have it should be the middle of the collage. The middle of the magazine is a collage of photos, and every year I'm
saw that. Yeah,
drop your festival
Does
family
it say
photos.
fam in there? I think it says fam. Maybe that's where I saw it, and I just was, it was coming back to me.
Yeah,
subconsciously.
Festival family. Those are like the people that you just camp with and go to festivals with time and time again.
Really cool.
They're my salmons.
The salmons. Yeah. The salmon gang.
Yeah.
Shout out to the salmons. I hope they're listening.
They will be dying at this point.
Yeah. You better send them this podcast when it comes out. And then they'll remind you of probably some other stories from Kutztown that you probably should have told me, but you forgot to tell me.
Yeah.
Or maybe you probably just shouldn't tell me altogether.
Yeah.
Too risky. We'll leave it there.
There's a few, yeah. The salmons, they're really called the salmon bitches because we were at a festival. And have you ever been salmon before?
No, is this a term?
This is a term.
Like to get salmoned?
Yes, to be salmoned.
I'm a little afraid.
I'm not going to demonstrate it, but
Okay.
like you go and like do a floppy fish
okay. Yeah,
between somebody, between like their kneecaps,
Okay.
not between their legs, between their kneecaps.
Yeah.
And that's called being salmon. And one of the girls did that to the other, and they're like, "You're a salmon bitch." And she went up on the. We were at a small.
So this is where the name came from?
This is where the name came from. I wasn't going to tell this story, but now here we are.
Yeah. Got it now. No backing down.
All right. So that happened. My one friend got salmon. I'm not going to use names. My one friend got salmon. She called her a salmon bitch. And we were laughing about it. And we were at this small festival, which usually, like, at least back in those days, did not have the best security. And we were camped right in front of one of the stages. And it was like late. It was very late. No bands were playing anymore. That's how late it was. And I remember very vividly, I was standing outside of the porta potty with the girl who was deemed salmon bitch inside. And the girl who was salmoned stumbled on stage and said, "You're a salmon bitch," into the microphone. And the microphone was on. So it broadcasted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it broadcasted for everybody to hear. And the porta potty just goes, "What?" Like, I don't know. And that that happened long ago, like 7 years ago. And
Wow.
yeah.
The rest is history.
Yep. Well, now we're at Skate Away together.
Yeah.
Just,
Awesome.
we all made up.
Yeah. That's cool. So how can our listeners connect with NEPA Audio online?
Okay. NEPaUdio you can find on Instagram and Facebook, and it's spelled NEPaUdio. So the two A's run in together. And then you can find me again with the same spelling at NEPaUdio.blog. And that is my website.
Cool. Anything else? Anything else that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
Oh my gosh. No, I think we had like a really long talk at this
We did.
point.
Yeah. We're about 27 hours in now. Yeah, you did good.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was cool. It was really cool to learn a little bit more. Yeah, I've never been to a festival myself, but I see
You'll
the
have to
photos
go.
and I have to. I'm going to show up with my hula hoop.
Yeah, I'll give you a hula hoop
All right.
to take. You borrow one for the weekend.
I got to start practicing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could have classes. It'll
All
be
right.
fine.
All
But
right,
yeah,
cool.
at least do like a day. You could always just go for a day. You know?
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, single day.
Cool. All right. Sarah Gittleman, NEPA Audio on the Stacks podcast in the Blue Door Studio. Thanks for joining me. If you'd like to learn more about the On the Stacks podcast, be sure to search the hashtag On the Stacks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. We'll catch you next time on the Stacks.